When I was in school, I hated doing homework. It just seemed like purposeless torture, just another way for all of us to suffer at the hands of Mrs. Smith, or whatever any of my teachers' names were. One time, to avoid doing my homework, I accidentally threw it in the trash. I didn't have to do my homework that night. That night, I went upstairs and played PS2 and was happy. The next night, they were on to me, so I had to do my homework. I wasn't happy. This started a trend in my life, a pattern. I realized that work is pain and not doing work is happiness. So for years and years, I avoided doing work in whatever way I could. I got so afraid of actually trying because if I did, that meant that I was doomed to suffer. This and many other stressors in my life got to the point that I was pretty much always depressed. But now I'm not depressed all the time, and I'm out of that time in my life. I'm an adult with adult responsibilities and a job and a YouTube channel. I'm faced with a pretty brash question. How do I do all of these things without suffering and without sabotaging myself to avoid suffering? I know I'm being hyperbolic when I say suffering, but 7-year-old me wasn't. When I was 7, I genuinely hated doing homework. I had many long nights, handing in tear-drenched worksheets the next morning. It was hell. But what do I do now? How do I move past the work equals suffering mindset? How do I do this? The problem goes deeper than this, because this mindset also fucked up my self-esteem. Because soon enough, my unwillingness to do things manifested as my perceived inability to. I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't ace that test. I couldn't work hard enough. There was something wrong with me. There must have been. But as it turns out, I was just holding myself back. I was holding my work ethic hostage, starving it, all just to avoid a little discomfort. Since graduating high school, I've had a few jobs. I worked at Wendy's for 1.5 years. I tried Amazon and hated it. Noodles & Company fired me after like 3 days. I've just never had any real drive for longevity in my work. The only long-term thing I can ever imagine myself doing is YouTube. That isn't necessarily only due to my lack of work ethic. I think it's also just because I've never found anything worthy of my work ethic. I think throughout my life I've just valued my suffering more than people expected me to, or people usually do. Like, my suffering had to be worth whatever I was getting out of it, and for school and conventional work it's never felt worth it. I guess passing or making money wasn't incentive enough. But YouTube is incentive enough, since it's more than just the money I can make in the future. It's a creative outlet. It's something to care about. The people I could and do entertain and teach and help grow mean more to me than any conventional self-sustaining ever could. I started working at a day camp this summer, and it's very hard. Between my visual disability, I have a few videos on that already, and how difficult it is for me to walk so much since I'm fat, it's just been hard. But I'm trying my best to get through it, and now I'm gonna try to write shorter video essays during my time working there, so that the channel doesn't die. I'm finding myself working harder and harder on things. Surprisingly, some of those things are painful and are without great incentives. But I'm doing them because I owe it to myself and the people I care about to take care of myself. I've had such a hard time taking care of myself throughout my life, mostly since I didn't expect myself to have much of a future. But now, through different avenues and perspectives, I want to have a future. Now I just have to work towards it. So, as I veer off course, down a trail less overgrown and muggy, I try my best to travel the unknown, no matter how bright it looks and oxymoronically unsafe it feels. Hope you'll join me. Thanks for watching.